Well, hello everyone, Stacy Murphy here with a video about how to allow our vegetable and herb gardens to be our best garden teachers. Now, I know you show up here because you want gardening tips from me, and that's awesome. I will give you tons of gardening tips. Today's tip is about allowing nature to be another teacher for you. So oftentimes we want to know exactly what to do, and the plants will tell you if you listen to them because they want to grow, they want to produce. It's just a matter of producing the right ecosystem and habitat for them to flourish. So your best asset, no matter how many years of gardening that you have, your biggest asset is your beginner's mind, all right? So tune in and tap into your curiosity about these plants that you grow, and you might find new solutions to old problems. So maybe you're a beginner and you're just getting started. That's okay. Follow some tips and then watch and see what happens. If you have a lot of experience and you think you know everything there is to know about seeding something, watch this time around and see what happens. It's growing season. Maybe try something new. Maybe create an experiment for yourself. And here's why it's important. It's so important. So gardening knowledge has come about over the years. Generation to generation, knowledge has been passed down about these plants. And we barely have scraped the surface of what's known about vegetable and herb plants. So paying attention is the next set of the best gardening tips. So your curiosity about these plants might produce a new way of doing things that nobody's thought of yet. And here's what I mean. So for years and years and years, people have been seeding little baby plants, and then they grow transplants, and then when the plant gets to a certain size, they plant it. And this knowledge comes, a lot of it comes from farmers who are doing amazing work all around the world, and they're putting in place best practices. Well, one day somebody thought of the idea, well, so tomato plants, they get a lot of diseases. And in humans, we do a lot of preventative things to try to prevent ourselves from getting diseases. Why can't we do that with our little baby plants? And so they said, well, worm poop has a bunch of bacteria, good bacteria in it, kind of like probiotics for our stomach, right? So they're like, well, if worm poop has all this good beneficial bacteria, if we feed that to little baby seedlings, maybe those plants will have a better chance of success and be less susceptible to diseases in the long run. So they ran a bunch of tests, and guess what they found out? They found out that yes, adding worm poop at a specific ratio can help seedlings be healthier in the long run, can produce more tomatoes, can stay healthier, can stay away from diseases. And what they found through trial and error is they tried like 2%, 5%, 8%, 10%, 12%, 15% worm poop, and they mixed it in with seed starting mix when they were planting seeds in little trays. And what they found was there was a sweet spot, that 10% worm poop added into your seed starting mix. And a lot of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it's spring and you're starting seeds. Worm poop added in to those trays can add a bunch of beneficial bacteria into the early stages of that plant, which can help fight diseases later in life in those tomatoes. Some of those tests even showed that the tomato yield was higher. Now, this came purely out of curiosity, purely out of somebody wondering. And so this could happen for you in your garden. You could just be looking around and saying, hey, I noticed these things about my plants, and I wonder, what if I did this? And put a little experiment in place. And what I like to do in my garden, so you want to hone that beginner's mind and always be looking at things from a new perspective in order to come across these things. But you don't want to experiment everywhere all the time, because what if all your experiments fail? So I like to experiment with like 15% of my food and try new things, knowing that 85% I've got covered. I'm going to be growing that food. So I recommend really using your beginner's mind to try new things. Now, I'm going to tell you a funny story. This one didn't work out so well, so here's another story. I looked around in my garden one year and I said, wow, I've got a lot of cucumber beetles, and it seems to be more than typical. So I wonder what would happen. How could I attract more beneficial insects so that they would eat more of these cucumber beetles for me and get rid of them because I didn't want them. And so one of the things I did to attract beneficial insects that would specifically eat cucumber beetles, and this, I'm sorry, this is going to be a little gross, so sorry for those of you who think that this is not very humane. So I took the cucumber beetles and I took a bunch of them and I basically took water and I ground them up and I made like a smoothie, like a cucumber smoothie. And I sprayed that in part of my garden to try to attract the beneficial insects that might be attracted to the scent of cucumber beetles. Now, I don't know if beneficial insects are attracted by the scent of cucumber beetles or something else, but I gave it a try. And guess what? It didn't really help. So it didn't work. So sometimes things don't work. That's okay. But sometimes you come across a solution like worm poop in the baby seedlings that actually does help in the long run and will be something that you can pass on to future generations. So that's really what gardening is all about. That's why I'm here. That's why I like to share stories with you so you can get the best of the best. You can hear what's most up to date. You know, a lot of times books are written on gardening and they're static. And really gardening is it's a moving, living process and people all learning from each other. So here's what I would love for you to do is this season, think about your beginner's mindset and think about what are some of the questions you have about your garden that might allow you to try something different. And so post that in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what kind of experiments you might be trying out. And if you're somebody who's tried experiments in the past and you found something that's a little bit unusual, share in the comments below. And keep in mind, beginner's mind, right? We have to filter these things. Sometimes something that works for a specific area is not going to work for another area. So you have to know, you have to be constantly thinking about, well, why did that work for that person? And maybe that'll work for me. Maybe I want to experiment with it. All right? So that's how you allow your garden to teach you. And I encourage you to keep your beginner's mind, to allow nature to be your best teacher yet. All right? So post in the comments below. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next video.